What can they do around the map? Can this Akali be facilitated? These are all the questions I have, and I'm glad I get to ask them because both these bot lanes are full of talent that you've either heard of or have a lot of prestige anyway, right? Nash has performed very, very well, even if he isn't a guy that loads of people are going to think of when they think about Kasing, about Woolite, right? Then Voxnay, he has won 100% of the NLCs he's done, and yes, he's played more than one NLC, guys. So right from the off, this guy is being a force to be reckoned with, right? Like, this is two very strong bot lanes going against each other, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Naito wants to prove that Mad Lions was an aberration in his career. This guy was a very hotly touted talent. Apologies. But it's on level 6, so we're going to see him finally have agency into Fury there on the Azir. How they play out the map before that, that's the question. How these lanes play out before that, that's the question. And I mean, maybe we're not talking about Akabane, WoW, and No Name and Rifty enough in this one, but this is really a mid and bot game. But if anything explodes up there, it's going to be done on an individual basis. It's going to be Rifty finding something, WoW punishing a Rifty overstay. But it looks like both junglers get the memo. It's top to bot starts for the Wukong and the Vi.
I tell you what, I don't think Rifty or WoW would really mind that too much, because these players are a bit more active in terms of the 1v1 and willing to go for aggressive stuff, and top lane is an island such that if you are able to get an advantage in the earlier stages, quite often that is going to precipitate through and towers start falling and your opponent finds it very, very difficult to respond. As you mentioned, both junglers starting on the top side. There was a ward placed by Ruddy on that initial invade, so they know exactly where Akabane is, and then Voxnay and Nash are going to use that information and play around it accordingly.
Then Voxnay playing heavily around this melee minion here, making sure to match Kasing's line on top of him to avoid potential early level hooks from the Nautilus. Kasing were like, they're going to get a hold here, but that is not a freeze by any means. Honestly, that is a bounce back if then Voxnay and Nash choose to have it that way. Firmly in control of the lane, they avoided that critical phase early. Now the windows are much lower, but they still do exist for Woolite and Kasing. And if anyone's going to find it, it's going to be players of that kind of prestige. Honestly, even when the drafts have been very bot-centric today, somehow the games have found a way to be about top lane. And it's not like we're not going to see a presence from WoW and Rifty later. They can both get on top of these carries, lock them down. WoW on this champion can actually save a lot of his teammates, right? Just because they're going to be ignored early doesn't mean that their presence won't matter. If today, well, today's sample size of 2 games has taught us anything, so the top laners can definitely find ways to be relevant.
I mean, what I'm looking at is 2 top laners that have some decent mobility options available to themselves, and a couple of AD carries. One of those very, very short range on the Zeri, and the Varus, not too much mobility. So oversteps on either side can be punished. Akabane has snuck into this bush, and I don't think that Ruddy recognized this. Then Voxnay walking forward, the hook goes wide from Kasing, and the play will falter.
Then Voxnay sidestepping Kasing's hook there. You have to wonder if maybe Kasing goes a bit too aggressive there, because I feel like Akabane was in a very good position. Akabane's engaged there is point and click, but he does not have the level 6 yet. You do need Kasing to land something eventually, just maybe distract him more by opening there with Akabane's Wukong. But nicely played there by them Voxnay. He wasn't falling for it. The wave's moving in on bot, but Karma's going to save it, cancels the recalls by doing so, and gives them Voxnay and Nash potentially a window where Nash can try to do something midsection with this Renekton.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Karma is one of those enchanter support that actually has fairly effective roams. The self-speed-ups and the ability to root someone for a pretty damn long time is especially effective, and we have seen top laners being active, getting a shove, and then moving around other parts of the map to try and extend leads in other places. We saw Fyompin do it pretty exceptionally, actually, in the previous game, and then obviously Lingui, the first game of the day, or the Gragas, making a lot of things happen. For the time being, Rifty is the one who's been able to get control of that top lane matchup, taking it back to pick up Pickaxe, and in the mid lane, it's Fury who's got minor CS advantage, although Niter is still hanging on.
But Nash, he's here off of that bot lane play. He's here to defend Niter. This is the critical juncture for Niter. The next wave is when he could hit level 6, and he does have teleport. He could, if they get a good wave state here, just recall TP back in and be there with an item on his 6. They just have to make sure he survives. At that point, he does get hooked, but has the Shroud.
Just hit level 6 as well, so a lot more kill threat to the Akali, a lot more safety as well. And I like that the movements that we saw from both sets of players there, recognizing the importance of getting that level 6 on mid lane.
Yeah, it left bot lane in the 1v1, so then Voxley is unlikely to try to trade heavily onto Woolite here in this matchup, but he has at least played safe enough to be able to get the stacked wave in. Great use of the timing there to go mid and escort the Akali in, and it's good that Nash recognized that, because otherwise Kasing could have easily landed a kill there. Kasing immediately went straight mid, knowing that the wave would eventually be good for Woolite. Matching a legacy support there on map movements by Nash, that's a great showing from him. And Kasing showing why he's still a force to be reckoned with in the NLC. Nothing happens, and ultimately that favors Ruddy somewhat, but it was a really good showing by both bot lanes.
I mean, that's the sort of the show of experience is a lot of these roam timers. It's not necessarily the pure mechanical stuff, it's the game sense, knowing where should I be at X moment. And obviously that changes as patches come and patches go, but that instinct is still incredibly important and valuable. Shout out to Rifty, by the way, getting the better end of this top lane matchup pretty consistently. And as he collects this wave, he's going to be almost 2 waves up in terms of CS.
I mean, Rifty returning to the NLC like this is a player that we've wanted to see back for a while. Like, he is a guy that we've known to do it all. But into the Cassante matchup specifically, being left alone 1v1, you can have a lot of impact, because honestly, Cassante looks really, really disturbingly broken in a lot of games. But when he's behind, he's actually not that big a deal. Right? So if Rifty is able to maintain this advantage, maybe even get ahead, maybe even turn something into a lethal on Cassante, you could shut out a big tool to protect Woolite later on. And you have to gradually shut these tools down from NORD, because NORD's composition is scary in a 5-on-5. How do you get your dive off against a Zir wall, against Varus disengage, against Nautilus's very existence, and Cassante? Very difficult. You have to be trying to remove these potential issues already.
And it's flanks as well, right? It's getting No Name, it's getting Niter in positions that NORD wouldn't necessarily expect them to be in, as Niter going forward for a fairly aggressive trade here onto Fury. Goes right back to the minion. That's very, very cute, as both junglers now hit level 6, thinking about a Rift Herald.
Big issue of mages, no real amount of sustain. You chip them down enough and eventually you know you can just one-shot them. Wukong?
Well, Akaban is kind of in the process. Oh no, No Name! He holds the clone! That's definitely not going in hot. Don't zoom in on him, man!
The zoom in! The zoom in! I respect it from the camera guy. I respect the lack of respect from the camera guy. I see you, I see you. That could have been an opening kill for Ruddy there, but not to be. No Name, just not patient enough, assumes that he's being bamboozled. But that in itself was all the bamboozling Akabane was willing to do. And Akabane's able to get out with his life, and they miss that opportunity to potentially propel the Akali into the game. They do, however, they still force Akabane out. They do get this Herald. Maybe they can find a way to accelerate it. Okay, another sidestep.
That was pretty clean. I'm not going to lie there, boss.
Honestly, mate, enemy ADC sidesteps me like that twice in 9 minutes, I leave that game. I just want to say that I am not advocating breaking the summoner's code, guys. I'm sorry. Well,
that's good. That's good.
I would be very respectful to the skill of my opponent and continue playing at my best. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, okay, that's all very well and good, veteran. But what happens after the 3rd dodged hook? What happens then?
I can't say that on broadcast.
Well, let's not dwell on that too much longer. It's 10 minutes in. Neither team has yet been able to reduce someone's health bar to 0, despite the best efforts. of, do we really have to look at No Name? Every time I look at him, I keep thinking about that play. But traded ultimates with Akaran, that's fine, right?
They got
It's getting his eye.
You mean the play where they got the Herald?
The play where they got the Herald. I mean, joking aside, that's really, really good for them. And that dedicated pressure in lane is going to be absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I mean, especially... Ooh, play on mid lane?
Niter is pretty damn low. No Name jumping in to try and save his mid laner as Denvoxia and Nasha here as well. Actually throws Akaban into the end and gets retribution for that kill. It is going to be a double traded back by Fury as he's pumping so much damage into the health bar of Denvoxia. He goes over the wall to dodge away from the Azir. The flashback over Kasing will pull him back as they both fall down. A triple kill for Fury and double buffs to boot.
A triple kill and double buffs. Fury is going to be the threat in this game. That was still a very impressive outplay there by Denvoxia to pick up a kill for himself. The Herald is still there for half its time remaining on No Name. But look how this play began. Niter gets caught. No Name goes in, tries to delay enough, and they're able to pick up one kill. But look here, they think they can get the execute on Denvoxia. He steps the entire damn thing and gets the trade kill onto Kasing, but he gives his life to Fury, who picked up the first 2 kills and gets the triple kill. You're now dealing with a massive threat in the form of this Azir on the NORD side, but Denvoxia was able to claw back a little bit of hope by getting the execute kill on towards the Kasing. And honestly, those kinds of outplays are what they're going to need if they want to pull off this composition.
Yeah, because not only have NORD got pretty strong champions, they're pretty strong players as well. And it's great for these kills to be getting on to Fury. We've talked so much about WoW, we've talked so much about Woolite being strong threats for their team, but the man in the mid lane with NLC residency is no slouch either, and with that Leandries, Ruddy are going to have a lot of difficulty fighting up against this Azir.
Yeah, I mean, the Herald is a really good thing that Ruddy have, though, because it's so difficult for them to just start hitting tower in any of these lanes that they are outranged in, except for potentially top lane. This could be the thing that allows Zeri to open up the game bot, that allows Akali to open up the game mid, but, you know, the first time that they tried to get that off, Kasing was there, got the engage, and Fury got a triple kill. Sure, they got some trade backs, but if you allow one player to get that powerful, you're going to have a bad time. They can't afford to do that again, bot or mid, and they're running out of time on this Herald. It's about to vanish. They have to drop it.
And once again, Ruddy are committing very, very heavily towards this mid lane. 4 members strong, and this time, Nor gonna pull a couple more people. Shelly should be able to get the charge, but Ruddy aren't escorting this one in, and Nord are going to be able to take it out.
That's big. That's very, very big. Fury very fed. That mid tower at 100% HP. It's very difficult for a team that doesn't have range advantage to play in these scenarios if they can't get those long lane states. Long lanes mean long waves. Long waves bouncing back means you can set up in brushes. Brushes let you close the gap. Terrain lets you close the gap. You want to be able to use the terrain. But if towers are up in all lanes, all you really have to play for is river and those choke points, which makes it very easy for the enemy team to play away from your strengths, which makes it very easy for NORD to leverage this 3-0 Azir.
And the way that the map has panned out as well, you can see that for the most part, it's NORD who have gotten the advantages in the bottom side. That mid lane tower, full HP. They had 5 plates left on their bot lane tower as well, whereas Woolite was able to pick up, I think, about 3 from Ruddy's bot lane tower. And Rifty, credit to him as well, he's been playing this lane. It's not really materialized into anything for Ruddy. He's got that Blade of the Rune King now. Maybe you can start applying some pressure with that item, but as it stands, it's NORD who have been getting the better end of this early game, despite the fact that the gold is relatively even.
Shame top lane has never mattered in the history of mankind. Otherwise, Rifty could potentially bring his team back into the game. Kasing constantly going midsection on these waves, making sure that Akali can't just all-in Fury. Yes, Fury is 3-0, but he's not building into tank, so Akali can still one-shot him on first item. So it's good to keep escorting in the mid waves there. That's going to translate into a Drake. The Drake resets. That might give Ruddy some time to launch a contest. Fury locked down all his
Getting a
ults. He's
pick there, and
exposed.
Nitro's just jumping onto him, but it's a rampage kill for Fury. Finally, the Azira's been taken out, and Ruddy in a 3v4 are looking to play, but they are being shredded. Wow, with a double knockup, pulls back Den Voxnay, and Akabane sends him back to the fountain. NORD will be able to claim this Chemtech Drake. They get the fight as well. It's going from bad to worse for Ruddy.
That looked so good at the start. Fury basically wasting his ultimate off to the side there, gave the chance to remove him from the fight. Rifty and Nitro, they were able to do that, but when WoW joined the fight, he manages to get then Voxnay and Nash into his entire team, prevent them escaping, prevent them continuing the fight on their terms, and that ended up being the deciding factor here. Almost every single time that WoW has done his first grouping, it's being an impactful one, and he's maintaining that in this game.
And now the question becomes for Ruddy, how do you respond, right? Because the game is far from out of your hands. NORD have taken a couple of Drakes, and they happen to be the worst ones. They've got a 1k gold lead, which it isn't massive. If you're Hedon right now, the coach for Ruddy, what do you want your players to be doing?
At this point, you're looking to the stage of the game where NORD start expanding the map. When NORD start taking out towers, you're hoping for extensions on their side. Your own towers going down can actually be a net good for you in certain scenarios, and ones like this where you need extensions
hold on. We're getting a pick here onto Akabane. He's going to be able to clone away as Nitro has been rooted on the side. Use of the Chains of Corruption is going to be forced to go back, but that's into the waiting arms of Fury. Those Sand Soldiers deal a load of damage, and he interrupts the flip away to feed another kill to Akabane. NORD are looking a little bit crisper, and they're going to be able to take Rift Herald.
Well, I held the ultimate there, didn't just immediately stack it in front of him, so when the Akali went for the flank, he was ready. The root there, very impactful, preventing the Akali going in. They're so conscious of these possible flanks from an Akali or a Renekton, and NORD have a counter to it every time.
Strong stuff, and now you can see the map looking at getting a little bit accelerated. Half HP on our top lane tower. If Fury gets a little bit more time now, it's going to be falling down. Rifty looking for a little bit of a trade onto WoW, not committing to a full 1v1. Ruddy do need to make a play. I think relying on oversteps from NORD is... I mean, it could work, but NORD have shown themselves to be a disciplined team. And they know what they're about. Posting up in the mid lane, summoning this Rift Herald, trying to take down this tower. Once that mid lane falls, the map is going to be a bit harder for Ruddy to play, as might actually be plotting a dive, as well as there goes Akabane with the ultimate down onto Den Voxnay, who's half HP, but is going to be able to push chase. Fury is here, as that is a big engage from No Name, but there goes the Azir over the wall. He gets the shove back and delivers Den Voxnay to the waiting arms of the rest of his team. NORD get 2 kills off the play. They may even look to get another tower. They are accelerating this game relentlessly.
If that represents how Ruddy are going to play every team fight, they're not going to be able to win this game. Vi can't just assume that she can go into a full disengaged team like that and expect any real follow-up. Then Voxnay tries to follow up on it, but it's basically impossible there. Fury is there, Varus is there, the whole team is there with full disengage tools, full zone control, and you're a low-range Zeri. That can't be how you play these fights. You pretty much have to sit on top of Zeri and let her do her thing, create space and be the zoning tools for her. But if No Name's going to feel pressured to do an engage or something like that here, this is the wrong kind of composition with which to do it. You can try to make picks like Dominoes were doing the previous game, but these 5-on-5, 3-on-3, even numbered engages are not going to work out.
Nash gets the heal from that focus resolve, but Fury will send the Sand Soldiers forward and claim another kill for himself. Will I potentially isolated, but No Name doesn't pull the trigger with the cease and desist. He is going to be able to get that Skull Crab and pull away, but the fact that we could already be looking at NORD starting up a Baron on spawn at this stage in the game, it's risky, right? And you look at how Ruddy have been playing, and they've not been able to contest. They've not been able to find plays of their own, and they are running out of time. That gold lead for NORD is 4,000 gold, and so the number of plays that you've got available to yourself have been massively reduced.
That thing NORD just did to Nash, that's the kind of thing Ruddy need to do to NORD, right? NORD are kind of giving them some help there by being like, you know guys, this is how it's done. And Ruddy should honestly learn from that, because right now, it is difficult to think of them in the same lines as NORD and Riddle based on this first round robin. We have to see more for the next 10 minutes. And Ruddy, like NORD, have typically been a team that has scaled in later on in the game. Compositionally, that's still kind of true when it comes to damage, but we need to see that happen in terms of execution as well.
And Knights are potentially caught on the top side. Kasing moving over. He's going to pull that ultimate down onto Akali. There is no way to dodge away from that, and it's another kill for Fury. The Azir blind picked in the mid lane is showing up a Storm. 6, 1, and 4 on that reset. Going to be picking up the Rabadons as well. It's going to be so difficult to deal with him in the next fight.
Yeah, 100%. Meanwhile, the Akali, I mean, she needs this second item to guarantee one-shots, especially with the Varus going Immortal Shieldbow build. Otherwise, her only real target is an Azir that can do as much damage as she can in terms of burst now, and that's saying something when it comes to a Conqueror Azir. Very risky. Zonya's coming out on Woolite here. This is a rough one right now. Honestly, for all their engages, the options are rapidly diminishing. You need isolated picks, but those groupings don't ever seem to be there for Ruddy.
And this is why NORD are so good. Not only have they got these very high-level players, but they also just seem to be playing together extraordinarily well and extraordinarily respectfully. You can see NORD just shoving out that mid lane, looking for a bit of priority, and Ruddy constantly thinking about engages, but they're never in a position to catch out NORD, because you look at Woolite and he's constantly got someone next to him. You look at Akaban going for these engages as well. It's so hard to find an angle.
I mean, Cassante is the one where they could maybe do something, but now that Baron is up and the Azir is so fed, there's a very real threat that NORD just do the Baron. This is NORD's game to win 100% right now, right? That triple kill on Azir has been leveraged, that first fight around Drake has been leveraged. They win, and this death squad of Akabane, Woolite, Kasing is almost impenetrable, and it's very difficult to find other picks on sides, because it's either super high HP, super far away from Baron, or the death squad of the Varus, of the Nautilus, of the Wukong is leaning towards it. NORD have the map locked down. The game is in their favor. The question for them is merely a case of when they will win, rather than if.
And, I mean, they could go towards the Baron, or in a couple of minutes' time, they've got a Hextech Cell waiting for them as well. They've not only been able to build a gold lead throughout these early stages, throughout these first 20 minutes, but they've got an objective lead as well, and that's not something that you typically see, or we have typically seen, from a lot of our teams here in the NLC. And at this point, for Ruddy, what do you even do? You've got 2 items on their Vox Day, you're getting towards 2 items on Knights, so these guys are going to be able to do damage, but the issue is, you can't find the people to do damage to. The Baron has been started up, and I'm not sure if Ruddy are going to be able to get here in time.
It's Varus Azir, a very, very fed Azir, and the Varus. This thing just gets deleted, especially with on him.
Yeah, as does No Name, as he comes in a little bit too late to contest, and will pay for it with his life. Rifty being a reasonable tank in the front line, but NORD see absolutely no reason to stop, as Nita looks for an assassination, but dies himself. Den Voxday is kiting to his heart. Content, as actually NORD are losing a little bit of damage. The burn down is just enough, as the stopwatch will keep Woolite alive. Rifty is going to be able to find a shutdown onto Fury. The hook narrowly missing NORD. Playing with fire a little bit, but it's Ruddy who are getting burned. Nash has overstepped and will be the 3rd kill. No, not quite. Just able to get away. But NORD, they get the fight, they get the Baron, they are in control.
And that right there is why it just was never a real plan to go bot lane and try to make a play on the behind Cassante. You can't do that because if you take your eyes off the Baron for a single second against an on-hit Winzu's Rageblade Varus and this monstrous 7-kill Azir, the Baron just goes. And look at that, they bait them in, they already have the Baron, it's difficult for them to ever engage at any point, but this right here is the one ray of hope for Ruddy. Then Voxley kites them back and the damage he's doing is still immense. That Zhonya's isn't up, he gets the kill. He's 1 kill more, he gets the kill. Varus is 1 kill behind, he gets the kill, right? There are loads of things that could have gone just a little bit better early there, and they win that fight outright. Then Voxley didn't even have his teammate there. That's the only thing Ruddy can hope for right now, is that NORD spread themselves thin again in the fight, then Voxley does something like that, and the rest of the team are actually in a position to follow up. Just chill with your dives and play on them, Voxley. That's basically all you can do right now. Another neutral just getting deleted by NORD.
Oh, this is very smart. They are not risking No Name stealing this one away. Ruddy
they know
looking
they
for
fights.
some flanks with those Hex Gates. Rifty still on the bottom side, not really involved in anything just yet. NORD still DPSing the Drake. No Name looking to get over the wall and steals it away. Hope for Ruddy, but can they get out of this fight? It's already the first kill going in favor of NORD as Voxley is trying to do as much damage as he can. Rifty is locked in the pit with multiple members, and the arrow will snipe down Voxley. The Hextech Soul will not be going in favor of NORD, but with that fight, they are looking at inhibitors.
I mean, they get the steal, but the following fight doesn't even vaguely look close. You'd think that NORD had the karma on their side with how much they were able to sustain up. But no enchanters here, just a 17-4, 8k gold lead being leveraged, monstrously fed carries. Varus, off the back of that fight, now joining Azir up there in the 5-kill plus club. This is an extremely difficult game under any circumstance. The steal was very nice, buys them a little bit of time, but did you really lose that much as NORD when you take the rest of these kills? Taking out Vi there, Rifty in the middle of them, can't even get onto Woolite, and when he does, the Zhonya's is there once again. Akali is out of here, sees the writing on the wall on 1 HP. Then Voxley the only one again, but this time doesn't look like he's firing bullets, more like a Nerf gun.
And we talked about what this game meant for Ruddy and for NORD at the top of the day, right? If NORD can win, they extend to 5-0. They keep themselves as one of those top 2 teams. If Ruddy take the L, then they're going to be forced low. They're looking for an engage here, and they may actually be able to get it. Kasing is already incredibly low, but the stopwatch will keep him alive, and NORD have more damage than Ruddy can contend with. Then Voxley throw it over the wall. A double kill for Akaban. Make that a triple kill for Akaban, as no one dies on the red side team. They're going to run down mid. They're going to run down Nash, and NORD are heading to 5-0.
4 stopwatches on the side of NORD, and only 2 of them were actually used in that fight. Wukong, Azir, their stopwatch is still up. Varus just came off the cooldown. The game is just done. That's it. NORD and Riddle are a clear top 2 in the NLC for the first round robin. Ruddy have a lot to prove in the second round, but they have not yet proven that they deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as the dominating NORD and the dominating Riddle.